Hi everyone, welcome back to Week 8 of the 2012 NFL season. I went 3-3 with my picks last week with a couple of pushes. Just a point here or a point there. I would have done really well. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get right to the picks right now. The first game we're going to look at has Miami going to New York to take on the Jets, who are 2.5-point favorites at home. Last week in my video, I mentioned how teams coming off of the bye are doing really well and teams going into the bye are doing really poorly. This is the only game this week that happens. Miami's coming off the bye, Jets going into their bye. This is also a bit of a revenge game for Miami, who lost in Week 3 in overtime to New York. The Jets, meanwhile, lost last week in overtime, so there could be a bit of a letdown. The Jets have actually covered their last 3 games against the spread, but so far no team this year has covered 4 straight. As a matter of fact, teams trying to cover their 4th straight game are 0-7 against the spread. So let's take Miami plus 2.5. The second game we're going to look at has Indianapolis going to Tennessee. The Titans are 3.5-point favorites at home. They're playing a lot better since Matt Hasselbeck took over at quarterback. Despite the fact that it's Week 8, this is only the 3rd game on the road for Indianapolis. And in the other 2, they've just got whacked. They've lost both games by 20 points or more. I think Tennessee has got their running game back. They did very well last week against the worst rush defense. That was Buffalo. Indianapolis' rush defense isn't very good. Look for Chris Johnson to have a big game. Lay the points. Take Tennessee minus 3.5. The third game we'll look at has Atlanta playing Philadelphia. Now, both these teams are coming off the bye, so that's going to negate any advantage that they have. However, Atlanta just hasn't lost a game yet. So you're actually getting points here. And with Philadelphia, they've played 5 of their 6 games, 3 points or under. As a matter of fact, in those 5 games, 4 or 5 have gone 2 or under. So with the spread being right now 2.5 for Philadelphia, they could still win and not cover. Actually, I think Atlanta will win the game. Take Atlanta plus 2.5. And the fourth game we're going to look at, we're going to go to the Monday Nighter as San Francisco goes to Arizona. And the Cardinals are 6.5-point dogs at home. San Francisco won last week by a touchdown against a division foe. Now they're being asked to do the same thing on the road against a division foe. I don't think that's going to happen. The best bet that you can make in football is taking a division game where the home team is the dog, and that's what this game is. So let's take the 6.5 points and take Arizona. Okay, we'll go right into our over-under plays. Carolina's at Chicago. That number's 43. And Carolina just is not scoring the same amount of points that they did last year. Meanwhile, Chicago has the #1 defense in the league. I think they'll keep Carolina in single digits. Let's take under 43. The second game we talked about earlier, Indianapolis is at Tennessee. Indy's giving up a lot of points on the road. Well, Tennessee is actually has given up the most amount of points per game all year. So let's take over 47. The third game we're going to look at is Seattle at Detroit. That number is 43.5. Seattle's defense is very good. They're the 3rd-ranked defense in the league. Detroit played the 1st-ranked defense on Monday, and we're limited to just 7 points. I think Seattle does very close here. So let's let's take under the 43.5, and the fourth over/under game we're going to look at. We're going to go back to the Monday Nighter. San Francisco's at Arizona. The NFC West teams just keep playing under. There's been 4 times this year that a division game is involved the NFC West. They've all been under. The number's 37.5. It is low. So what? Let's still take under there. All right, I'm going to just move over to the side and let you see my straight up picks for this week. Every week there are a couple of upsets. Last week it was the exception. I believe there was only 1 upset. All the favorites won. Usually it's about 3, sometimes 4 or more games a week. I'm not the type of person just to pick straight up the favorites. There are going to be a few games that we'll look at. New England is playing against St. Louis, but this game's in London, so although New England are favored by 7 points, they don't necessarily look like they should be favored by that much. It could go either way. They haven't done very well so far against the NFC West. The Monday Nighter we talked about with San Francisco going into Arizona. I don't like betting games where the road team is the favorite in a division matchup. Arizona could very well win that game. for those of you still alive in your suicide pool, you're going to have to look at Green Bay at home to Jacksonville. Those are two teams going in the opposite direction. Or you might go with Chicago over Carolina. Myself, I'm taking Green Bay in my suicide pick. All right. So those are my picks for this week. Good luck to you. I'd like to just give a quick shout out to a couple of guys who are sort of new to this game. You sort of watch all of our videos and you know the cast of characters. Well, these two guys have been just doing it for just a little bit amount of time. A big shout out to Nate in Cali and Matt in New Jersey. I hope you check out their channels. They don't give out a lot of games, but they're very thoughtful in the games that they do pick. So please check them out. All right. For the GeoKnows YouTube channel, I am Geo. Let's take the man's money.